Welcome to this edition of F Block Wildcat News. I'm Ella Ranger, and to get us started, I interviewed Misty, the school nurse, to get advice on how to keep or prevent a cold or flu from happening.
I'm pretty old-fashioned. I'm not a big fan of medications for colds. I think that it's more important to focus on those tried and true things like making sure that your body gets enough sleep. Sleep trumps everything. So I feel like medication becomes important if you can't sleep because you have a fever or a headache. So then you could take something like Tylenol or ibuprofen.
Sleep is a huge reason why people get sick because they get run down.
Most people don't know the difference between having allergies or a cold.
Generally, with allergies, you would have itchy, like watery eyes, which you don't usually see with a cold.
A lot of kids miss school due to being sick.
We haven't thankfully had that yet. Cross fingers. Kids have been pretty healthy so far. I think if you're just feeling a little bit under the weather, have a little bit of a cold, honestly, I think you can probably still come to school. Their ability to make sure they go and follow up with the teacher and make up the work that they missed. It's the student's responsibility, really, to make sure that they do that.
There are a lot of techniques on how to stop or prevent a cold.
So if you're at work or school with other people, then it's important to make sure that you're washing your hands regularly.
One thing you do to prevent a cold from happening is coughing into your arm, so it prevents germs from spreading everywhere. And also washing your hands after a lot of stuff.
I drink a lot of water and get lots of rest.
Doing my nebulizer and stuff like that to keep everything calmed down.
I only really get sick once a year. It's never really that bad.
About 1 to 2 times a year, and it varies.
Now that you know how to prevent a cold or flu from happening, you can't use the excuse to stay out of school. Now to Chris Pratt on a piece about a teacher who has changed and affected many students' lives.
With the success of the cross-country team the past few years, we asked Mr. Sylvain in what he thinks has brought the most success within the team. We also asked Cole and Brett what they think makes Mr. Sylvain a good coach.
Yes. It's been a combination of the enthusiasm and the effort level given by each of the athletes on the team. They're working very hard during the practices and racing as hard as they can, but at the same time, we've learned to have a lot of fun along the way.
Runners on a good pace and practice using the arms. Mr. Sylvain says that he uses the treadmills and uses hills to help them with the control going down them.
We look to break parts of running down, so as far as the overall cadence, we'll get the runners on the treadmill and practice taking 3 steps every second, or if we're focusing on a hilly course, we'll head over to a hill like one over at the Pine Hill Cemetery and practice running down the hill, leaning forward out of control, or running up the hill, having proper form with pumping the arms and driving the knees.
Cole Barral says he likes Mr. Sylvain as a coach and teacher because he communicates very well with others.
Okay, well, like get his point through with like as little words as possible.
Well, I like him as a coach because he's very thorough and he makes sure we do our best every practice, and he knows what he's talking about, and he's a very good coach. And as well as a teacher, he always wants to help and he's always available.
As leader of math club, a teacher, and coach, and me having him as a coach myself, he has made a great impact within the school and out on the course. Now to Ryan Hume with more on the traditions of Hanukkah.
Thank you, Ella. Holiday season is right around the corner, and many people are getting excited for Christmas. However, many people celebrate holidays other than Christmas, like the many Jewish members of our school. We wanted to find out about what their typical Hanukkah traditions are.
I think most people know about the stuff that I do because it's pretty generic, but I light the menorah every night.
Most people don't know that there are actually 9 candles on the menorah and not 8.
There's a lot of prayer that goes into it. Just like the story, it's more than just 8 nights.
We have a tradition, at least on my wife's side, where we will actually hide the gifts. That's fun.
When asked if they preferred the longer stretch of Hanukkah, the answers were pretty similar.
I don't think it really matters much, but I guess it is nice to just spread it out and have a week-long celebration.
The 8 days of Hanukkah is pretty good because it's more spread out rather than just the first one.
For delayed gratification, it's a lot calmer. You can focus and appreciate not just the one gift that you have to enjoy that night, but also you're paying more attention to what other people, because it's fewer presents.
I like having Hanukkah more because it's spread out, and I feel like Christmas is like all this excitement, and it builds up, and then it's just like one morning, and then you got to go to a party, and then you're just done.
I'd probably prefer the Hanukkah tradition.
One of the essentials for every holiday are the meals eaten.
Typically, I'll make a nice brisket.
We eat potato Lockies.
I don't know, they're not my favorite. These things called knishes, and they have like meat inside, with like spices and spinach. It's gross. And
Hopefully you learned a lot about Hanukkah traditions. I know I did. Even though the month of December is considered Christmas time, there are many other holidays that are celebrated then. Now here's John with turducken chips.
Thanks, Ryan. In news today, Pringles released their new flavor, turducken. It got me thinking, what other wacky flavors are there, and what are other people's takes on them?
You know what? In my entire lifetime, I don't think I've ever eaten like a chip flavor that you would consider like wacky.
Well, I've actually eaten ketchup chips. I'm sure you've had them.
I've had dill pickle chips before, and they tasted really weird.
So the wackiest flavored chips. I don't mess around with flavors. I eat strict flip potato. I don't need anything else.
I was wondering, what is too wacky for flavored chips?
You know what? If we start getting to like unedible things like grass flavored chips, I think we're getting into an area where we need to stop and assess ourselves as customers. Why are we buying these things?
Oh, you gotta be way up there for whack. I mean, I don't know, nothing's too wacky now.
I don't think you can ever get too wacky because you gotta be creative with it and make up new flavors.
People had thoughts on turducken chips.
Oh, heck yeah. I gotta try that.
I would not because it sounds kind of gross.
The students we asked had mixed opinions on wacky or regular chips.
By far, regular flavored because it's safe to the stomach and I don't have to worry about getting diabetes.
I'd rather have regular flavored chips because those are more classic,
Me personally, I only eat the normal kind, but you know what? I can see where people would like a wacky flavor. I can see maybe I would try it. I mean, if I try the wacky chips, I think my opinion might change towards the wacky flavors.
Regular potato chips every day of the week, except for Sunday.
Probably wacky. You never know what's gonna happen.
It's one of the questions you maybe shouldn't ask.
Overall, wacky chips are just a question that'll never be solved until somebody finds the perfect flavor. For this edition of F Block Wild News, thanks for watching. I'm Jonathan, signing out.